Well, something that you cannot disagree with, the objective 10 best alternate costumes in Street Fighter
Ooh.
5 as told by me. There are like 6 billion costumes at this point, 3 billion in Chun's wardrobe, and the rest go to the rest of the other 42 characters or whatever it is. But I have gone through and objectively listed the best alternate costumes, starting with, and these are in no particular order, Ryu's Jin Seotome. Is that how you say that? Costume. Now, this is cool in and of itself. It's a crossover for another Capcom character, and it's like a cool like ninja robot with a robot-esque sort of a thing with spikes on his armor and whatnot, and a long flowing kind of like samurai headband. That's just fine. But the reason that this costume is one of the absolute best is because if you do the Easter egg code, which is I believe I just hold all punch, light kick, and up, and I think it's all three punches, or I don't know, but that gets it done. When you do that, Ryu sheds all of it, save for the headband and his underwear, which is like thong-like underwear, gives Ryurian's banana hammock a run for his money. And this is the best because it's incredibly distracting, first of all. And when you win with Ryu, his win pose is he turns away from the camera and begins walking away to the next fight, very Ryu. And it holds on this shot of his perfectly toned and sculpted buttocks that's just right there for you to feast your hungry eyes on. And so what happens is, as you play against people, they don't realize it, but subconsciously they want to lose to this character so that they can get to that win screen. And I find that if I play this Ryu, I get so many more wins just because people subconsciously want to lose to him. So it's one of the absolute best costumes in the entire game. I think it's color number 5 gives you the blue armor and the red underwear, which I think is the best of all of them. So Ryu's super sexy, perfect buttocks Jin Satomi costume, one of the best. Did you have any
Yeah,
comments on that?
well, the red draws attention to it, so it's very important, and that's the one I see almost everyone use online. They're like, look, if you're going to be looking somewhere, you better be looking at where this red thing is at, and so you're pretty much, your attention is really drawn and focused there, and I could not agree with you more that that is definitely the best color for that alternative outfit.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Okay, so number 2, Blanca Chan. You guys knew this one was coming. We'll get it out of the way fairly early here. This was probably the most impactful costume. There are some other ones that are in that discussion there, but when Blanca Chan came out, it was such a thing. It was a moment. We did multiple stories on it, and they did well. Like people were engaged with them. They wanted to explore this. So many memes came out. And it's not just that the costume looks goofy and entertaining in and of itself, which it does. This giant kind of plushy version of this character, and he's a fighter. It's like, how could you do any damage with these big foam arms, right? That's not the point. Point is, it so perfectly lines up with who Blanca is as a character, and not how he was originally designed necessarily, but how he has evolved as a character and in the way the community perceives him to be something of a troll and to win with these tactics that are not necessarily legitimate when it comes to general Street Fighter theory and all that kind of stuff. But, what do you imagine is going on in a Blanca's brain or a Blanca player's brain when they're going ham on you online and using lag to hop around and do goofy, unsafe, balls and things like that? If you were able to look into the brain, you just see like one of those monkeys with like the symbols going shh, 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 right? And when you look at Blanca Chan, it is that incarnate. It's just this big dumb face. I know it doesn't have a tongue hanging out, but it might as well, like a goofy dog with the tongue hanging out the side of his mouth. And you think like that is how the community sees Blanca when they get rolled by him by his balls
yeah.
online and stuff. It's like you were just sitting there and there's the monkey with the symbols in your brain and you beat me and it's super frustrating. Well, this costume just you can almost see it inside of the costume is just the monkey with the symbols. And so it caused such a stir in such a good way. It so totally encapsulated what this character has become, and I think it was a really smart and really well executed choice by Capcom.
Yeah, I forget the do 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 do, like the goofy music that plays when like something, it happens in a sitcom and other stuff like that. But like Blanca's music should be replaced by that whenever he picks a Blanca Chan costume. And maybe it can like come from his outfit, like he's got like a music box in there or something like that that plays while he fights. Because it's like, and again, it's Blanca. He's a shenanigan character. Like if he was not that, I would be pissed off about it. And so big ups to Capcom. Like Blanca Chan became a phenomenon for a while. This is like, it is a gold costume. Like if I played Blanca, I might use this. I might use the one with like, you know, the most distracting features too that I could find. It's like, this is what you do with Blanca.
Yeah.
And if you didn't have this, like, I just feel like the game would be worse for it.
Yeah,
So,
and we all know what it is to get frustrated by Blanca, right? And you imagine if you were to scream and yell your frustrations at Blanca-chan, and he's just sitting there with his eyes going in like different directions and like tongue hanging out of his mouth. It's like, who's the idiot? That guy or
yeah.
the guy that's screaming at that? It's just it's so perfect. I love it. All right, little change of direction here. Number 3 is Chun-Li's battle dress. That's the black and gold dress. It is absolutely beautiful. She lets her hair down. It has been cosplayed a bajillion times, and hot damn, is it sexy? Is it gorgeous? This is just an example of Capcom, and I think Capcom with this and Hot Ryu, they really wanted to make an impact and really give their poster boy trademark characters something of like a little extra oomph when the game released or shortly thereafter. Give people something to talk about, care about, spend their money on. And this just did it. I don't think I've seen a Chun-Li costume come out that's better than this one. I mean, her iconic original costume, that is what it is. But man, I really like the battle costume. And like I said, but how many times it's been cosplayed and how often we talk about it and how still it's relevant despite her having 3 billion other costumes, I think really speaks to it. So just really gorgeously done, well executed, and perfect for Chun-Li.
Yeah, I can't add anything more than what you just said there. It looks great. So great costume.
All right, this next one is probably a little controversial in that I don't think a lot of people would realize that this is objectively one of the 10 best costumes in the entire game, because I don't see it very often, but that is Kage's Asura crossover costume. This Asura is an interesting character. Is another Capcom character from a whole other game, which I think that there's some overlap. And Akuma showed up in Asura's Wrath, if I understand it correctly. I've never played,
or like Oni or something like that. I forget exactly who, but it was one of the devil Oni characters.
Right, and Evil Ryu being like a demon version, sort of in that realm of Capcom's poster boy Ryu. It makes sense, and so he becomes Asura, and that's cool in and of itself. He's kind of got this like sort of broken, cracked, the Thing skin, and it totally works for the characters, little horns and everything. It looks decently like Asura, but then when you do the Easter egg, he gets all of Asura's arms and throws up all the gang symbols, at once. And then like that's something that is just every time I would do it, like playing at casuals or tournament or whatever, people would talk about it. They'd be like, "Oh, I didn't realize. Like that's super cool and that's interesting. And what's that? And like, is that West Side Bloods, whatever it was." And it's always been really funny and not really funny, but really cool. It's funny to see that like people are like, oh, their reactions to it and such. But it's one of my favorite, and he's got a couple of different good colors that just really between that and the pants that he's wearing, because he doesn't have a shirt on for it. They just look really cool, and I think it's a super underrated costume that not enough people play. I mean, not a ton of people play Kage in the first place, and he has some good other costumes as well. But that one I think is his best and one of the best in the whole game.
Yeah, people who disagree with that opinion and who happen to be gang members, please don't kill us for this. we don't support gangs here on Event Hubs, and yeah, so there it is. So yeah, but I agree, it's a great costume.
Yeah, thanks for clarifying.
I just don't
that.
want to die. Yeah.
All right, next one up on the list.
The Brazilian kin players are going to come after me next, man. It's I'm done.
The Sharks, the Jets, and the Brazilian Kens, huh?
Yeah, my this is my last episode of the Event Hubs podcast. I'm done. I'm canceled, or I'm going to be killed. One or the other. So there it is.
Right on. Well, before that happens, the next one here on the list is Lucia's sporty beach volleyball costume. It is simple. There's not a ton to it, which is part of its charm. Lucia is a very well-designed character. I think she's pretty, and this costume really helps her show her stuff off. It's nice to look at. And same idea as the Ryu stuff, but just in kind of the other direction. Not a ton to say. It's cool. And when you do the the Easter egg, she actually puts on this top that's kind of like a raggy top. It doesn't look very good. And then she puts on the sports dad shades, which it's kind of funny, but certainly takes away from the whole thing. Don't do the costume, but also do the red version. It's pretty good. That's the one Thrasher uses against me all the time. And again, it's distracting for me. I have to put my Ryu against his Lucia, and just whoever has the weaker mind that day ends up losing. So.
Yeah, I do have to disagree with you on this one. I would have went with Lucia's bunny ears. I love that costume. She looks fantastic in it. But this one's a really good one too. So I just I like the bunny ears. I'm a little partial to that, but there you go.
Fair enough. But you're wrong. Okay, next one up. This one you almost never see anymore because the character rarely gets played in the first place. And also I wanted to point out I've kept it to one costume per character in the top 10, so that's why like Hot Ryu is going to be an honorable mention, but he didn't get on there because he doesn't beat Ryu Jin. There's another costume for this character that I think is up there, but if I had to pick one, I would say it's Nikali and his Halloween werewolf costume. It looks pretty decent in and of itself. I like the idea, but the concept behind it of applying, if you're doing a Halloween theme and you see this character who literally evolves mid-match and becomes a more visceral, animalistic version of himself, that lends itself so perfectly to the idea of a werewolf, of a wolf man. And for them to have identified that and pulled the trigger on it and done it, it's like, this is so perfect for who Nikali is, the very little that we actually know about him, because his story is just kind of all over the place and seems almost like arbitrary in a lot of ways, but we won't go there. Nikali as a werewolf, I've got to give that a spot on the list.
Yeah, this was a costume that you rocked for the longest time, and we were listening to a lot of the Backstreet Boys back in the day. Everybody, and like in there, someone's a werewolf, and we were like constantly trolling John with like images of like whoever the werewolf dude is. I don't know the Backstreet Boys' name. Sorry about that.
Liar.
But yeah, Ted or something like that. I don't know, Tim something. It's one of those names in there. But anyway, he's a werewolf in there, and we're like, hey, look, it's John Sticali. We were constantly sending him images and stuff of that for about like a year, and then we stopped. But now we're gonna start up again. So.
Right on. Okay, next one on the list is Poison. Poison's story dress costume. This is a lot different than most everything else you see Poison in, but it is gorgeous. It is, I think it's like her most clothed costume actually, but it is fairly form-fitting. Her hair is really done up in a way that you don't see it for Poison almost at all, and then she wears these really big aviator kind of glasses, sunglasses. My issue with Poison, if at all, in her design is that in some of her costumes her face looks fine. And in other ones, it's kind of distractingly weird, and I'm not sure. I can't really put my finger on what it is specifically. It might be the way, her hair frames it or something like that. I don't know. But this gets around that with the sunglasses, and then also like everything else about it is just really beautiful. And then there's some copatography where I get a lot of my high definition Street Fighter images that I'll use in a lot of banners and such. He's got a couple, or he or she, I don't know, has a couple of pictures of this particular costume posed and stuff, and it's like every time I'm scrolling through, I'm like, oh, those look really good. Like that looks really good. I don't play the character. I don't see people using the costume a ton, but it's just a really beautiful design that gets my attention every time I'm scrolling by. And so I got to give it a spot on the list.
Yeah, it's Christina Hendricks. She's a knockout, and Poison reminds me a lot.
She in
of
Mad
her.
Men?
So, yeah, Mad Men. She's got red hair. She's got a very curvy shape to her. So they definitely give Poison that Christina Hendricks look. And she was on Firefly as well, I believe. But if you're a sci-fi nerd like me, but anyway, this is one of my favorite costumes, absolutely in the game.
Oh, would you put it on your top 10?
Oh, Poison's a knockout, man. Poison is
and
beautiful.
This one, beyond all of her other costumes, this specific one?
Yeah, hell yeah. No, I love almost every Poison costume out there, even from Street Fighter 4. Like, just Poison's just freaking awesome. So like, she's one of the characters. Like, if I wasn't committed 120% to Rose, like Poison's probably the character I'd be playing right now. Poison, so much of what she is just works incredibly well for me. So,
okay. Next one, Holiday Bear Zangief.
Awkward transition there, yeah. Oh, we're
Only
going to
if
Zangief,
you point it out.
Yeah, okay.
Holiday Bear Zangief. I see this one pop up quite a bit. Zangief actually has some pretty cool costumes that don't get used enough, like the Gladiator one with his like Maximus helmet on, and some of his other ones too. But this one is, I think, his most popular. Well, maybe not. Maybe the Macho Man one is too. But this one is cool because again, I'm kind of a stickler for if the costume like resonates with the character's identity in some creative and intuitive way. I really like that, you know. So the whole thing with Nikali and such, for example. But with Zangief, well, one, he's Russian. They're all about bears, and you kind of connection with California there too a little bit, right? And then Zangief has in his story that he's you know, known for wrestling bears during a tornado, or yeah, it wouldn't have been a hurricane, but a tornado, and that's how he developed his attack. And also I think he's traditionally gay, and he's like this big hulking hairy guy, which I think is along the lines of, you know, bear in terms of the gay community. So many things point back to bear for Zangief. And then also it looks cool. It's like this like, he's, what did he slay a bear and then he like wears it, like that's pretty cool. And I think it just it's a Christmas costume, so I don't know exactly how that plays in. Maybe I'm missing something from some Russian Christmas, you know, tale or something along those lines. But it looks good. It ties in with the character's identity really well, and it's fairly popular. So I say, you know, give Zangief some love. Put him on the list.
Yeah, we're definitely getting canceled after all these things, because commenting about any kind of nature of Street Fighter and like the racial stereotypes it has.
Oh, that's next week's episode. Yeah, we're gonna talk about El Fuerte, Rufus, all that good stuff. Let's T-Hawk. Let's go, baby.
Oh man, it's just even like diagnosing this stuff. I'm like going, oh man, like this is like, it's so hard. It's so funny. Like
Too
with
spicy for YouTube.
Culture. Yeah, I mean the cancel culture and stuff, like fighting games should be like banned in every country and other stuff, but it's like and again, they're not to be taken too seriously. It's like it's stereotypes to play up like this stuff and whatnot, but just sometimes like when we're doing our analyzing and stuff of it, I'm like, oh boy, like this is we're getting in trouble here. But yeah, it's a damn good costume. Zangief is great. He's iconic. It's you know, got the scar. Yeah, I don't know what else to say.
Gay Zangief bear. Yeah. Just trying to make you feel uncomfortable. Sorry. Next one on the list, Halloween Colleen. This is probably my least favorite of the ones that I put here, and I'm tried to be faithful to my own feelings for most of this, but this is one that I think people really do like. And I do think it's well made. I just don't know how it really ties to the character. She has ice powers. A witch is more of like in the way of magic, and they might do some ice stuff, but I would imagine more fire.
The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
What about
she's
it?
She's an ice queen. Like she's an ice princess. Like, and she's a witch. She's the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. The main antagonist in the first book. Like she's the.
You think that it's a Narnia callback?
I mean, it's like the Ice Witch is still a thing. You know, I mean, you could. That's probably giving Capcom too much credit, but like, there's at least a history of it. I love fantasy stuff and D&D and all that. So, but like to me, it makes sense also because I love the costume. And shout out to Kitty Kaboom when she cosplayed in that. And then I mean, it's a Colleen's gorgeous in that, so I'm a pretty big fan of it.
I think she looks a little better in a couple of other costumes in terms of that, but I do think this is a beautiful. Well, you're wrong, but that's okay. You're allowed to. You're wrong. It's my segment. But I will admit it does look good. I can appreciate why people like it, and I will at least give one spot on my list to one that I didn't go with my gut for, but I think, you know, there's an argument to be made that it's one of the best costumes. So there. The last one is, and I didn't have this on there, but I as I thought about it, I had to swap it out. It was going to be an honorable mentions, but it can't be because there's too much behind it. Juri is one of the most popular characters, and in modern times, when, you know, I post a lot of fighting game art to the front page. It's kind of one of the things that I like to do, and when I'm looking around for them, there are certain characters like Chun-Li, Morrigan, Mai, Cammy, that pop up all the time, and Juri has very clearly joined them despite being a much younger character than most all of those. There are always artwork of Juri. People love the character. She has oftentimes whole collections that like artists they'll draw a bunch of characters, but they'll also do a bunch of Juri, just straight up Juri. And she's so beloved, and it's no reason, or it's no wonder why. She has a lot of personality. It's an enticing, attractive personality. She's got a lot of confidence, but she's sinister. She's able. She's got everything that you want. You know, she can be the waifu, and she can be the villain. All of this stuff. And so her school costume imagines Juri as if she were in high school, and you think, well, there's enough personality here that I care, and that I would care to think about, okay, maybe also what's she going to be like in a few years, but even more so, what was she like on the road to getting to where she is now? And you think, like, if Juri were in high school, what kind of person, what tables would she sit at? She's got goth, like, spiderweb stuff and a bunch of piercings and different color hair, and you're like, and like, does she have like Beetlejuice stockings, something like that? It's like, it's so perfectly what Jury would be at a younger stage, and it encapsulates that so well. I remember when it was first revealed, people really liked it. They're like, "Oh, that's so good," and it's for such a beloved character. Maybe not for her abilities in game, but certainly for her personality and for who she is as a Street Fighter character. She is just kind of like an overnight became on that just reached that same status as Chun-Li and Mai and Morgan in certain ways. She also has some proving to do just in the long term of having longevity and such. But Juri's beloved. This captures her identity, which is a very important part, perhaps the most important part of her as a character, and it imagines where she would be in high school. And I just think it's really well thought out and really well executed.
Yeah, I love it too. And so if you guys feel like John missed something that he should have hit, go ahead and just write in the comments below here and just tell him how bad he sucks.
I
Tell him
have
how
some
bad his gang
honorable
references
mentions.
well, I don't even want you to get to those because it's just I want people to blow you up in the comments and blow me up. Well, this is my last episode, so I'm done. But so it doesn't matter if they blow me up or not. But anyway, but who are your honorable mentions?
Well, I also
John?
want to ask you, did I miss any obvious ones that you would have put on the list?
Felicia Manat.
Okay, so I do have Manat, and Felicia Manat is very close to Battle Manat, which is like Fifth Element. They're both basically wearing mummy tape, and it's just super sexualized. Whatever, everybody loves that. Fair enough. I just thought, like, yeah, it's appreciated and up there, but I honorable mention. Anyone else?
Well, the thing about Felicia Manat is when I played at Capcom Cup, I overheard someone saying about my costume because I'm like, oh, hey, all the costumes are on here. I'm going to play it. They're like, that costume should be banned for how revealing it is. And I'm like, yes. I'm like, mission accomplished. That was exactly what I was going for because I want to distract the other player with how sexy my character is because that's half the goal. That's why you play female characters in these games. Like for some people, for me, because it's like I need every dirty advantage I can get, and so I'm going to dress my character as scantily clad as I can get away with. There it is.
Flesh Pits Melina from MK9, right? So yeah, I have some honorable mentions. Mecha Abigail, that's definitely up there. It fits the character really well. It's pretty cool. Rose swimsuit. What do you like? Is that your favorite Rose costume of them all, or is that not your?
Yeah, it's my favorite. This one I use all the time, but I also like her dress from Alpha that they have as well. But yes.
Okay, so yeah, Rose swimsuit. Renaissance Gill. Renaissance Gill, I think, was the one that I had instead of. No, actually, it isn't. But it's a fellow CPT costume actually. But Renaissance Gill, like I saw that and it's like, wait, who is that? What is that? It immediately got my brain wondering like a couple of questions and wanting to investigate more. Is like, is that Leonardo da Vinci, Leonardo DiCaprio, Renaissance? I don't know, but and as you go and you look at it, there's a bunch of little details to it. I thought they were really cool. So I just thought a well-made costume and one that makes you kind of think and expect a little bit more. Hot Ryu for the way it resonated and for what it did. I mean, it wasn't even initially called Hot Ryu, but it had it got such a reaction from the fans that they deemed it that, and it kind of garnered that name just organically. Hippie G, it's one of the most recent costumes to come out. No one realized that they wanted Hippie G, and at first I was like, what does this have to do with the president? This has nothing to do with G as a character, but he is the president of the Earth. He draws his power from Earth, from Gaia, so that's kind of like a hippie, one in touch with nature and the Earth and stuff like that. So I get it, and it looks really cool, like just the way it kind of glitz and gleams in the light. I don't know, something about it, but it's totally groovy, man. And then the other one is Honda's Halloween turtle demon. I know it's not a turtle. It's is it Tengu?
Kappa, right?
Kappa. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, you're totally right. And again, it's just so perfect for Honda. I really think there's a lot of opportunity with the Halloween costumes to do this, to line these characters up with similar other entities that people can recognize. And the fact that he's a turtle character, it's just like, don't miss this opportunity. And I think they did it with him before in Street Fighter 4. They made him the turtle, and that was good too. But I think it's really cool. And then the way you can take off the helm or the head, and it's just like him in a costume like that, or you can see him through the beak, is a cute little touch to it too. So those are my honorable mentions. I think that's the last one. Yep. But
Yeah,
otherwise, now you
Gutsman
know.
Balrog. I love Gutsman Balrog because I love Mega Man.
Mhm.
So it's
See,
that's one of my favorite
I
costumes.
didn't
So
play much Mega
yeah.
Man in the day, so it didn't
Hmm.
resonate with me in the same way. But yeah, I've seen a lot of love for Gutsman Balrog for sure.